Commence primary ignition.
For Thursday, December 17th, 2020, it's the Serenno Squadcast, the official podcast of the Serenno Squad. At ease. All right. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Squadcast. Today, we've got the usual group with us. We've got Paul.
Hello.
We have Wayne.
Excellent.
And we have Evan.
Hello.
Hello.
And this week, we actually have a little bit of Legion news, which is kind of exciting. So let's start it up, if I can.
Oh yeah, we're gonna bring him in when it does.
That is the time for the first
Legion news.
How does it affect you across the street?
Yes. So no actual news per se in the Legion.
Lied.
You lied to us.
Yeah. What the hell? Our 2 followers are going to be pissed.
Well, last week I didn't even get to play the theme music, so I had to make an excuse.
We get like 30 views, so that's 30 followers.
That was
Thank you very
actually, yeah, that's an improvement. We got
I
30
feel the
views last
same
time.
amount of letdown that I do at the end of a show when they're like, stay tuned, we've got more coming up. And you have to sit through the commercials, and you come back and it's just the credits.
Yeah.
Every CW show ever.
Yep, we're just like them. That's us. But no, we do have a new approval, which is very exciting. So let's get that going.
It's a good
here.
one, a rare one.
Yeah. All right. So here we have what appears to be a first order snow trooper.
Yes.
TS.
There's not. Go ahead.
Sorry. TS99616. Congratulations on your approval. It looks awesome. What were we gonna say, Paul?
I was gonna say that is not a easy costume to make.
No, and it's not a cool one physically either. That's supposedly one of the warmest costumes you could possibly wear, like on par with Vader, if not even hotter, just because of that undersuit material.
Yeah. That's the reason I guess it would be expensive is because it's a relatively newer kit.
Yes. There's not very many of them.
Yep, that's only the second one I've ever seen in Garrison Tyrannus. So as far as I know, we just have 2, which is this member and then our former commanding officer.
Nice. Well, it came just in time for the blizzard, right?
Oh my gosh, yep.
He
The great blizzard of 2020.
Yeah, it's been
It's
very
like everything else in 2020.
it's disappointing.
A letdown.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But no, this guy did a great job. Looks really good.
I love the First Order Snowtroopers. I think they look so much cooler than the original trilogy Snowtroopers. I briefly looked into one like way back in the day when I was kind of first researching kits to get into the 501st, but this one never really took off for obvious reasons.
That helmet looks to be really difficult to see out of because you just have this little tiny slit.
Yep.
It depends on how close it is to your eyes.
Ooh, true.
Yeah, it's just the like everything is really, really detailed, and from what I understand, the little snowtrooper backpack is really difficult to build. The soft parts are really, really expensive. And it's also it's a rare costume, so there's not a lot of resources or places to buy this stuff. Like a New Hope stunt stormtrooper, you can get that thing from 10 different sellers. They all look great. There's so much resources. That's the problem with doing a rarer costume. It might look cooler, but it's going to be a lot more difficult to build.
Yes.
Right. I guess a lot of the First Order costumes are going to be that way because I haven't seen too many. I have seen some, but not too many.
They're probably twice as difficult to build as their original trilogy version, and they're probably twice as expensive as well. And twice as uncomfortable to wear, because I know if you're comparing in a New Hope TK versus a First Order TK, the New Hope TK is way more comfortable and way easier to get in and out of.
Yeah. The Stormtrooper's coming down in price. When it first came out, it was like $2,000 for just the hard kit.
Yep.
It's coming down. It's like 600 to 800 now for the hard armor.
It used to only be available in fiberglass, which is just, I mean, and I think the only guy who really did a good kit he's in the Philippines or wherever he is, and that's obviously really expensive.
These first order troopers and these sequel kind of trilogy troopers, whatever you want to call them, the guys that are wearing the kits, are these 3D printed or are these traditionally cast and like vacuum molded?
Depends on the maker.
I think it's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
But I think the more complicated pieces are 3D prints.
Okay.
Yeah, you have some people who actually have like there are first order Stormtrooper kits out there that are vacuum formed. The only problem is you lose a lot of that detail, and because these were originally 3D printed for the movies, that detail, there's a lot more of that fine detail that you have in new kits that makes it more difficult. That's why vacuum forming is just not as common for these kits.
Right. So more traditional kits, like if you're gonna go for a New Hope kit, you're gonna want to, I guess have the same exact techniques involved in making it to make it as accurate and as screen accurate as possible to those films. And is that like the ultimate goal for most of these makers? I know most people just want to get approved, but is that like something that you guys strive for when you're trying to make your Boba Fett, Evan, the one that you worked on for so long? Were you, striving to make it in every way like the original costume, or were you just trying to get away with whatever you could?
Well, I mean, so that's the thing is like, it's a little bit of both, because when you research some of these costumes, you realize that for wearing them for any length of time, you're going to have to cut corners just to make it wearable. Because Boba Fett in the movies is just it's not really a costume you can wear.
He just stood
very
there.
much. It takes an entire team to put him into it, to get him out of it. I mean, the actual costume for Boba Fett had like electronics and all sorts of things, which in the 70s electronics were much bigger and heavier. So I mean, it's kind of you have to make shortcuts where you can to make it easier to wear, but at the same time you have to balance that with making it as screen accurate as possible, because that's the whole point of the club, is screen accurate costumes.
Right. I didn't know if you guys in particular in your own practice, if that's what you strived for. I know that there are like purists where if they want to make like a blaster or something that was kind of kit bashed, they would go back, buy the actual model kit for that gun, or sometimes the actual gun, and then buy the models, like I guess they used a lot of kind of World War II equipment, tanks, and airplanes and stuff like that. I guess parts as greeblies and different details for the blasters and whatnot. So I didn't know if that's what you guys were all about, or if you kind of just got whatever you could done.
I don't really do found parts. Like I feel like what you're describing is found parts, and found parts are cool when you can do them. Like I have a pair of gloves in my Amazon cart right now. Well, we can talk about this later for upcoming projects, but there's a pair of gloves in my Amazon cart right now that are technically found parts for the live action Bo-Katan. And you can find like for I think my first order TIE pilot gloves are also found parts. So they're the original gloves that someone found on the shelf and then dyed or whatever.
Right.
So I mean, it's common sometimes to do that with easily available things, but there's other things like, so back to Boba Fett, there's little bits and bobs all over him, and surprisingly a lot of them are from 1970s dental equipment. And guess where somebody's going to find 1970s dental equipment? Nowhere, or on eBay for $1,000. So pretty rare. The only found parts that I have on my Boba Fett are on the gauntlets. There's 2 push button switches, which are still made today, and those are I have those on there.
Yeah,
Sweet.
that's the problem with the original trilogy stuff. Is it was a low budget movie in the 70s, so they were scrounging whatever they could,
Yep.
and a lot of that stuff just doesn't exist today. Like some of the stuff that's on the Sand Trooper backpack, it's like Tupperware pieces that haven't been made since 1978.
Flash
So-
tubes.
Yeah, so a
Yeah.
purist, somebody who wanted to have like that as close as what you can get to screen accuracy, that's what they would go for, is they would have to have that.
You
Well,
can do
there's
it. It's
the-
possible.
There's the do you want to actually replicate the prop and try to get it as realistic as possible, or do you want to replicate the look of the costume?
Yes.
That's one of many divisions in this little niche subculture we have here.
For sure. And I would say that we might be more of the latter, where maybe, I don't know about you guys, but me, when it comes to making all this stuff, I'm more of an opportunist. So like if it's benefits me to go to do one thing versus another, that's kind of how I go about it. I wouldn't like I was describing, trying to rebuild a prop exactly the way that it was built in the 70s, like the prop makers going into the the hardware store and finding all these parts and whatever. I don't think I would be that kind of guy, but I do respect those people and aspire to get that type of that passion for detail and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm exceptionally cheap and exceptionally lazy, so I'm going to go with whatever's the easiest option.
Gotcha.
Same.
Cool. I think that, I mean, that's how I am. I mean, obviously, everything I have back here, but this is a Hasbro blaster, and I know I could get like the woodchuck, that's actually to scale, but opportunity. This guy right here was, had all the electronics and everything, and I just went with what I had, and that's usually how I operate. But yeah,
It's fine. It's fine if you carry that, and I carry mine, because we all know you're not allowed to stand anywhere near me, so it's fine.
yeah,
It'll look fine,
I'm
but
not.
as far away as you're going to be, they'll see mine and see yours and think, well, that looks smaller because he's far away. And then when they get closer to you, they're going to look back at me and be like, oh, his looks smaller because he's far away.
I meant in general, but yes, you're absolutely right. There's definitely going to be an unspoken rule. That's
Yeah.
for sure. But anyways, that kit, that snow first order snow trooper, that was excellent. Did anybody want to add anything else to that?
No,
That was pretty enthralling. I like it.
I think the next coolest one down would be the Flame Trooper.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah.
the Flame Trooper.
No, they were Rise of Skywalker, right?
no, they're
They're
Force
in-
Awakens.
Yeah, they're in Force
They're Force
Awakens.
Awakens.
In that scene on Jakku when they're burning the village at the very beginning.
Oh, gotcha. I'm thinking of the Red Troopers for some reason.
The Sith Troopers.
Sith Troopers, yeah.
Flame Troopers are so cool.
Have I ever seen the movies? I don't know.
Again, we're unsure.
I'm gonna, one of these days. Anyways, so let's move on to our top story. Top story.
Excuse me, that's the wrong franchise.
I think I don't care.
It's the wrong franchise, Wayne.
Whoa.
I like that hat. So this week we've got a little Mandalorian to talk about. Not a little Mandalorian, but we've got some Mandalorian to talk about.
Well,
Evan's got a
how
little
tall
Mandalorian
is-
to talk about.
How
He's a
tall
little
is
guy.
Tamora Morrison?
I'm taller than him. I know that much.
He looks pretty short next to whoever they have in the Mandalorian costume at the time.
He comes up to about here on me.
Oh my goodness.
What do you think?
have-
Like 5'8"?
I'd say 5'8", maybe 5'10" at the high end.
Tamora Morrison.
To say if you look on my Facebook, I
He's
recently shared
5'7".
5'7", yeah. I felt bad because at Celebration 4, yep, there it is. I
Wow.
felt bad.
Wow.
That's in 2007. So yeah, That was when you could actually still take photos with the people at the time and not have to pay an extra fee. I felt bad for being taller than him, so I'm kind of hunching down a little bit.
Oh, such a great photograph, man.
Wow, that is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that. That's probably the only time I'll ever get to anything that quick.
Yeah, that was so fast.
Man, you were on top of it. It was almost like we planned that.
One and only. So, yes.
Or he's just stalking me on Facebook.
Yeah, I always have Paul pulled up, just in a tab at all times. Yeah, actually, all of you. It's not just.
Yikes.
Anyways, so this week's episode, what was it? I think it was chapter 15.
The second to last episode.
Second to last. What was the title of this episode?
The Believer.
The Believer. The Believer. Wow.
Which
So
it took me until Monday or Tuesday to realize I'm going to get ahead of myself here, but
go ahead.
It's a Monkees reference.
A
Because
Monkees reference.
the Monkees have the song that says, "And then I saw her face, and now I'm a believer." He takes off his helmet. Now we see his face.
Oh.
And it's the Believer.
I think we're stretching with that one, Paul.
So his preferred pronoun is her.
Well, it's his. It's a reference.
It's 2020, so there's no telling. But yeah, that's very.
I'm taking it.
That could be it, man. Who doesn't love the Monkees? Wayne, you don't love anybody. You have no love for anybody. Not the
That's
Grateful.
not true.
Not the
I
Grateful
love
Dead.
Jimi Hendrix, which is why I hate the Monkees.
Okay, that's.
I feel like there's some backstory there that I'm
Yeah,
too
some
young to
genius-
understand.
Some
Unrelated
people
to
in
a
the
Star
late
Wars
60s
podcast.
thought it was a good idea, since they were bringing over the Jimi Hendrix experience from England, to have him tour around with the Monkees. Well, of course, Jimi Hendrix fans and Monkees fans are the exact same.
Yeah.
So Jimmy would come out and get booed off stage.
Yeah. 14-year-old girls in 1966 love Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Sure.
He didn't scare the bejesus out of them at all.
Yeah. Not when he, picked with his teeth or lit the guitar on fire afterwards.
Yes.
All those wonderful things. Jimmy's the man, though. You're right. I would choose Jimmy over the Monkees any day. But this is not that podcast. I actually did.
You brought it up.
I did a record podcast and it was very unsuccessful. So let's move on from that. It's been wiped from the internet.
This
all,
is successful.
all 3
for you.
episodes. Yeah, this one has been running hot for a minute. So, anyways, The
You
Mandalorian.
can tell by how we run it.
It starts off on a what looks like a republic. No, well, that's not republic anymore. What are the rebels? What do they call themselves?
The New Republic.
It is okay. So it is. It's a new republic. A new republic prison planet. Could it be an entire planet?
It's at least that portion of the planet is a prison work camp.
And they had some of the same looking kind of like big old AT like walker things that were in that episode with when they go to
Yeah, I was trying to remember what episode did we see those before in? We've seen those
What was
before.
that? It was
It
the
was when-
Trask? Was
it
that
was
the planet?
it was the
Yeah.
one directed by
Bryce Dallas Howard.
yes. And
Yeah, it's where he comes crashing in and then goes into water.
Yeah.
And the wall
The first
goes
it
down.
episode.
grabs her out. Yeah, so I noticed that they were the kind of very similar. So I didn't know if maybe that was no, it couldn't have been the same place now.
No, but I mean, it's the same concept. And I mean, it's similar to how in Rogue One we saw like a sort of repurposed AT-AT, which is the AT-ACT, which is just a construction version, which is less armored and has like a big bays for carrying stuff around.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool. But starts off with that and our new favorite Bill Burr character.
Oh, he was so good this episode.
He really was. And I thought he was good in the other episodes too. The only thing I didn't care about were his little CGI guns that would come out over his shoulder. That was kind of
Yeah.
cheesy. But
He reminded me of Doc Ock.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. With blasters, it's weird.
Yeah,
But,
Just one gun.
was it just one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one over his shoulder.
like the Predator.
Okay. So he had 3 guns, I guess, total.
Yeah.
Well,
There's a. I'm trusting where I heard this from. Apparently, his prisoner number was it 246601 or something like that,
It's 97664.
or whatever the number is.
99667. That's what.
Um,
94667.
it could be anything.
I heard somebody say it's a Les Mis reference. That's Jean Valjean's prisoner number.
Oh,
Somebody can Google that and they can say, "Paul, you're an idiot. Don't listen to those people." Or,
Well,
"Hey, that's really cool."
we do have 2 of our
Yeah,
brightest minds.
Let's get the fact checkers on.
All right, we got. I'm working. His character's name was Mayfeld.
Yes,
Okay. So
was and still is.
Ooh, I'm guessing that prisoner number's not right because I just pulled up actual prisoners. I'm
It was prisoner 34667, and then Jean Valjean
Yeah.
prison number is 24601. Sorry.
Okay. So
Well, maybe there's something out there for.
maybe it's one of those like they just shifted all the numbers once. I don't know.
All right, but we don't have time
Related.
to solve
Okay.
that. But
Ignore everything I just said for the last minute.
definitely good conversation. So they a robot approaches him and tells him that someone's here to see him, basically, and it's our favorite Star Wars character ever, Cara Dune. Which
I was disappointed because as the droid was walking up, they showed the legs. He's on a little bit of the bottom. I really wanted it to be a K2 model, the K2SO model, and then it was that other kind. I was like, oh man, I got all hyped up to see like a New Republic version of K2, and there's this other schmuck.
yeah.
You know what I did like about Cara Dune in this episode? If you noticed, her belt buckle was that New Republic medallion thing that she got. It was her martial. What do you call it? Like her martial.
Her
thing?
stripes. Her stripes.
I think that's like a badge, like a.
Yeah, it's like her martial badge. It was her belt buckle, and I was like, "That's pretty cool."
I didn't see that, but that's sweet. I do remember that from the previous episode.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. So she's busting him out of there because they need someone who has the experience of being an empire.
Ex-Imperial.
Yes,
Somebody who knows the Imperial systems.
knows the codes, all that good stuff.
And I loved how she didn't tell him what was going on. He didn't know if he was being marched to his death or what was going on. He's just like, no, you're over here now. Come with me.
Yeah. And when they get to the ship, he sees Boba Fett and jokingly says, "Oh, I thought you were another guy."
Yeah.
And then Mando comes off, and you can tell he's still he's pretty shaken up still from their last encounter. But from there they hop in the Slave One. I'm not gonna screw that up again. I got crucified. Slave 2. What I thought was cool was they never really showed you. Maybe they did. They might have showed you some shots in the original trilogy of Boba climbing in the cockpit and laying on his back. I don't know.
Only in Attack of the Clones.
So that's what I thought.
One shot in Attack of the Clones.
I thought whenever, yes, and it actually is Boba who crawls up in the seat for that shot.
Yep.
I thought that was cool back then because it gave that perspective. But I thought it was even cooler in this episode where you get that and you get the rotating.
That was so cool.
That was cool because the ship lands like this but flies like this. You're like, how are they not falling over?
Yeah, how's the cargo?
I thought they were space shuttling it. Like when you climb in, you like are on your back. Like when you get in the space shuttle.
Oh yeah, the Dragon rockets right now. They flip backwards and forwards in there. It's pretty wild. But yeah, that shot was awesome. Love that shot as they're explaining kind of what their mission is. Very little talk of the little green guy.
Yeah, there was no Grogu in this entire episode.
Yeah.
Is this the first one?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, because he appeared at the very, very end of the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this episode or the previous episode, he was jet away by the dark troopers, and that's the last we see him. So no Baby Yoda, no Grogu. We are kind of figuring out the plan here, what's going on, and they lay it out. And I'm not sure still what planet they go to. Do they mention the name of the planet?
I think they said a name, but it wasn't anything remarkable.
So
don't
does that
think
mean
there's
anything
anything
new? Or
Yeah, they
like,
said the name quite a
Morak.
few times. Yeah, Morak.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's a new planet. I don't think it's anywhere we've been before.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And it's like
It's a secret.
right. It's a secret mining operation by the Empire. Excuse me.
Yeah. They are transporting Rhydonium,
Rhydonium.
which is showed up in Clone Wars and Rebels in a few episodes.
Oh, yeah. That's right. They were I think Sabine. No, that's not the right.
Yeah, there's when the main episodes is Sabine in Rebels, Sabine and Hera
Yeah, that's
go to a abandoned Republic base to get supplies, and little Fear Knocks kept coming out of the shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And then in everybody's favorite 4-part droid episode in Clone Wars,
Yes,
ends
please.
with Rhydonium when they try to blow up the war conference.
Yeah, good stuff. A+ episodes, and story arc. But yeah, they. Where was I? They're like outpost. They're up on like a hill, looking down. I guess they got to figure a way to get into that mining operation or whatever. What is it?
They need to get into the base to access the computers, but they can't directly assault the base because there's too many cannons.
Right. The goal is to find the whereabouts of Gideon's ship,
Mhm.
right? Because that's where Grogu is. And so they're doing this whole entire mission just to get that little information, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool. But from the beginning, they realized they're not going to be able to, they're going to have to go in disguises. And what do you think about what happened next? I'm gonna let somebody else take the reins of the episode because I'm talking too much.
I'm just still questioning what the big deal was. You realize there was one cannon on the roof. One. There were two gunners. One was playing second, and the other was shortstop. He was right out from, but not. He was just covering.
Wasn't there like an anti-aircraft cannon or something?
No, they took out the two gunners, and then he flies right in. They didn't take out any kind of cannons. They didn't take out any. There were two gunners on one gun.
Now this is later in the episode.
Maybe it was just there was too many troopers in the base. There was just too many people to do without trying to sneak in. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there was only 4 of them, right? That seems like 2. And then that base was packed full of dudes.
Yeah, now the base was a ton of people. Yes.
Right. Well, we're getting ahead of ourselves because
But that's why they couldn't. That's why they had to sneak in.
okay, because it was heavily it was swarming. It wasn't like that last like remnant Empire outposts where maybe like they had a few stormtroopers and biker scouts or whatever. This thing was fully loaded. So they spot one of those transport ships or transport vehicles.
Juggernaut.
The Juggernaut. Is that what the vehicle's called? Or is that what
they were They were called like Juggernaut 1, Juggernaut 2, so that at least that was their designation.
Okay, I didn't know if that was the name of the actual like transport troopers. Is that what they're called?
I don't know what it's called.
I think they're called transport, something like that. But how about those helmets?
The
The tank troopers. So those, when I guess that was they first showed up in Rogue One, I thought that they were so cool in Rogue One, and that was like one of my favorite costumes. And then I don't know, I guess I kind of lost interest in them. I thought it was really cool. I don't know if I like the original white tank trooper more or this version. I was never a huge fan of the mud trooper helmet, because this is the mud trooper costume with a tank trooper helmet that's painted green.
Yeah, it looked like from the neck down, it's the Mud Trooper from Solo, but they're wearing the tank driver helmet instead of the
Gotcha.
gas
Cool.
mask thing.
Yeah,
Which,
and I think
if you wanted to build that gives you what, 4 troopers?
Wow,
Or
that's
one
a yeah. If you can figure out a way to
Well-
change the helmet,
4 characters. Let me do that.
right?
Because you could do a mud trooper if you did the helmet. You could do that gunner if you did the helmet. If you do without, you're Din. And if you shave your head bald, you're Mayfield.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I shave my head and trim my beard down a little bit, I could be Mayfield.
perfect Mayfield.
If I quit eating so many sandwiches, I could be Din.
Your hair needs to be a little shaggier. You had pretty shaggy hair.
Yeah, you gotta grow it out. There's no way that Mando's gonna take off his helmet. That's what Mayfield thinks, and then
And then we find out, like most religious zealots, whatever suits them, that's what works.
right. You do see that he uses the scope and he looks in there and he's like, okay, the guy's wearing a helmet. I'll go and do this.
To be fair, Wayne, he is learning there's a wider world beyond the cult
Yeah.
that he's raised in.
that's true.
He's moving away from those hardcore zealot
Like
deeds.
most religious zealots.
I think that helmet, I don't know if I was crazy, but I think that helmet has like either a gold or a brown visor. It reminded me a little bit of, because when you can see it in reflections, it's not just a black visor, it's either brown or gold. And it reminded me a little bit of the visor in the range trooper from Solo.
If you pause the screen, you can see his eyes in it. It's really thin.
I was going to say, I noticed that in season 1, they need to put better visors. Their visors would not pass 501st approval.
I mean, they need to be able to see and act, though. Let's be honest here.
I think
I remember in the end of
We
season
can see.
1, when the Death Troopers, or not, the Death Watch shows up at the end of season 1, you can see the dude inside. You can see his breath fogging up the bottom of the helmet.
I have a Shade 5 weld visor inside my Boba Fett, and I can't see anything out of it. It is
Well, that's your fault.
dark green.
Yeah, I think it might be maybe a choice where they're trying to make it that way. Maybe they're trying to make it more realistic. It's like that shot, I think when he's in the first season when he's fighting the Mudhorn, you can see the light shining, from behind.
I don't think that's what it is. I think what it is the same problem I had when I built my first TIE Pilot helmet. I just put the one coat on, and in a normal room, you can't see through it. It wasn't until the sun came through, you could see my face clear as day through the thing.
Yeah, but this is Disney. They could have easily edited that if they wanted to. They could have tinted it. They could have darkened it so there are no eyes. I
I
think it
don't
was
think they're
intentional.
noticing it. I
What?
don't think they look at it the same way we
Well, I guess you're right because there is an action figure called the Jeans Guy from the Mandalorian. So
do.
Well,
that
he's
was
been
just a
editing.
slip
He's
up
been.
that just got passed.
They
He
spent
what?
all their money editing that dude out of the show.
so now it's whatever.
Whatever Carl Weathers got paid, he didn't get paid.
Poor guy. No, he's doing a great job, Carl.
No, I'm just
Um,
saying, whatever he got paid for directing that episode, and then that happened, and they had to go back and fix it. He didn't get paid for directing. They took his pay. And, well, here's our budget for editing this out.
Yeah, it was Carl's fault. But yeah, so they end up I guess they needed Kara to kind of be a lookout because at first I was like, why on earth is she jumping on there and like knocking the guys out and stuff? But she ends up hopping on the tanker with them all, knocking them out, and then spotting them while they're getting dressed. And
Well, somebody had to take the armor back.
They're not called.
that's true. That's true. He had to give the Beskar to someone that
By
he
the
could
way,
trust.
they're not called juggernauts. They're called Imperial Combat Assault Transports.
Okay.
They're
I
cat.
think the people might be the juggernauts. Maybe.
It's like a nomenclature. So it says it's
Uh.
the Imperial Combat Assault Transport, also referred to as the Juggernaut,
Gotcha. Okay, that explains it.
So they're cat.
or the Mako from Mass Effect.
Right.
It's the stretch limo version.
It was a little too,
limo version.
it was a little too easy
Sure.
to drive to be the Mako.
Yeah, yeah. Although it did almost explode if you sped up, so it's kind of it's that same design.
He wasn't driving it backwards at one point because it was easier.
Yeah, but I bet you can't drive that straight up the side of a mountain.
We don't know. We haven't seen it.
I never played Mass Effect, so
If you've ever
Well,
played the
okay, you've
original
never
Mass
seen
Effect,
Star
all
Wars
these
either,
jokes
but
are very
you're
funny.
yeah, should not be surprised there. So one of my favorite lines, is once Mando gets changed.
You mean the best line in no, we skipped over the best line in the entirety of Star Wars.
Yes.
Oh, we did. Well, I think
When
you
they
should
when they're
address it
trying
now.
to decide who's going to go on the mission, they need Mayfield to go because he's the one who knows how to access the Imperial systems. And so they're going through and checking off everybody. And Kara can't do it because she's on the New Republic lists, so she would be flagged immediately. Like, Fennec is like, oh, I'm probably wanted by the Imperials. And then they go over to Boba Fett, and he says the best line ever.
Yeah.
I think they'll know my face.
Let's just say they'll recognize my face.
Yeah, he nailed it. Nailed it. There's no telling how many countless. Well, who knows? How many clones could still be around? Like, seriously.
It's entirely
I don't know.
possible Rex is still alive at this point.
Wow.
I doubt it.
Boba Fett's getting all the best lines in this season, by the way. Like, what did he say? I think it was a couple episodes ago. Oh, when we first saw him, he was like, "I'm just a simple man making my way through the galaxy."
Yeah.
Yep.
Or,
Yeah, title of last episode, This Isn't a Spice Dream. I love that.
Oh, and Boba Fett got his. They spent time and went to Space Lowe's and bought some spray paint, so he was able to touch up his armor.
oh god,
Yeah.
it looks so good.
It's the toy paint job.
That's
I
right. We got to
love it.
talk about that. So they
I love it.
repaint it, and then I guess he just couldn't. It looked too good, and had to go and get some of the corners and knock it off.
Yeah, he's got all the corners kind of have just a
Yeah.
little bit of chinks. Yeah.
He was in a rush. He only had while they were in hyperspace to do it.
Yeah, he probably just couldn't get it to all of it. Yeah, you're right.
Can you imagine? I know how it is when I'm working on spray paint out in the shed. Can you imagine being in a spaceship with 4 other people? You're just spraying along, and everybody else is like,
Yeah, that's what I like that about Rebels with Sabine, where she was like a graffiti artist kind of thing, and her little room was like just tagged all up. There's no telling how many people died. There's no way you could breathe in there. Or no, well, the spaceships, they're probably high tech enough to get rid of all that junk. Who knows?
It's space paint.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah.
humorless.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm humorless, so don't know my face.
But yeah, Mando walks out. Mayfield says, "What would Mandalore say?" or
Yeah.
"What would Mandalore think?" Oh, so funny. Yeah, he entrusts Cara Dune with his best car, and then they head off, and they travel through a little city or a little village. You can see they're pretty run down. I was surprised that as they started going along, obviously there were pirates that come along and start attacking them. I was surprised that the pirates weren't the same species as like the villagers. I thought maybe they would all be like the same species or something like that, but the villagers were like all humans. And then the pirates, they were some species I'm not familiar with.
They were the same as Barada.
What's
Were
that?
On Jabba's sail barge, I think they're the same as Barada.
Oh, I don't know who Barada is. But you're saying it's Return
There's
of the Jedi.
Klaatu, Barada, and Nikto on the sail barge on the skiff that's getting ready to push Luke in.
Oh.
I'd have to look up what their species was.
Right.
Because they didn't look like anything I'd seen before.
I thought they looked like Barada, but
They resembled something, but they also kind of were new.
they also weren't all the same. There were at least two different styles of them.
Okay. Yeah, they were armed to the teeth with thermal detonators. Holy cow. Like, how many thermal detonators do you think they had?
One each.
Yeah, I think they had more than one each. But
I don't think they were Barada. I'm looking at a picture of one right now. No. Because they had like little tusks on them. They almost looked like...
they look kind of like a Jedi that we've seen before.
Yeah.
Oh, like they did kind of look like Stacy 10 too.
Yeah,
They did
his
look a little bit like
his
him.
tusks were bigger.
Yeah.
Theirs were smaller.
Right. Well, maybe they just weren't cool enough. He was...
Yeah, it's just genetics.
Yeah, genetics. Jedinetics. Never mind. It's bad.
He's from the northern hemisphere. They're from the southern hemisphere. I don't know.
Sure.
They're all
that's
like,
it.
it's so true.
Romulan joke.
Anyways.
That's a Futurama joke.
Yes. So they get attacked by the pirates, and then because they're escorting the Imperial cargo, the TIE fighters come in and relieve them right in the right.
I love so Mando goes up to fight the pirates off, and immediately he goes in. He tries to attack them as if he's still wearing his armor, but instead he's wearing the Imperial armor, which is junk.
Yeah,
And
he's now
they
playing.
swing at it, and it immediately like shatters on him.
Yeah, he's playing the game now without the cheat code on, and he's like, "Oh God, I've been playing this all wrong."
Yeah. There's a Wolverine comic that it made me think of where he loses his healing factor, and so his way of fighting was just charging into the battle and taking as much damage as he could. He's like, "Oh, I can't do that anymore. It doesn't work that way."
And also, I don't think I've ever seen in Star Wars lore a blaster run out of charge.
It doesn't happen often, but it's happened.
And he throws it at him instead. Has that been done before?
In every cop movie, yes, but
I mean,
Well,
even in the Battlefront games, you don't technically run out of ammo. You
Exactly. Most people you overheat. Yeah, you overheat, or you. I mean, it makes sense that you have charges and you run out of. It's like a battery, like a phone. But
well, I mean, most of the guns that I can think of, as far as that I have, all have clips attached to them.
Yeah. So does.
I mean, obviously, they got to run out.
it's for whenever it serves dramatic purpose to run out of ammo, they run out of ammo.
Yeah.
Well, I would. All I was saying was I think it was the first time I'd ever seen it done.
Yeah.
Just hilarious. It was a great shot, and yeah, he was getting his butt kicked, but they came out on top, and they get inside, and all of their fellow Imperial troopers, they're just like, yeah, man, you're the first.
So much for sneaking in. They're celebrities now.
Right? Yeah, you're the first to ever make it through. They get there, and everything looks like it's going their way. And then I guess they get to the mess hall, the cafeteria. It's like they got to go to the ATM or something. And
That's what the terminal was.
terminal.
It scans your face only. There's no other. It doesn't need any more information other than just to tell that you're a person.
Yeah. And it doesn't need you to be in the system, I don't guess, because I thought at some point the way he was like, oh, I can do it. I was like, oh, maybe he's like Imperial somewhere. And I don't think that matters. I think, like you said, they just need you got some eyeballs, a nose, mouth, you're check.
Yep.
It's like,
Have a face,
like
all right.
it's like when you go to the self-checkout at Walmart, there's the little camera watching you. It's just like, we're just recording this for security purposes.
Yeah, sure you are. Mayfield sees one of his, I guess,
It's his
former commanding officer.
What a great scene.
Doesn't have a very good history with, and you can tell something's up. He doesn't really go into the details, and then I don't know why Mando thought maybe he could log in with his helmet on, but obviously it doesn't work. So he takes his helmet off.
Testing it.
And this is the second time. This is the first time in season 2, second time in the series that he's taken off his helmet. And Pedro Pascal in all his glory. And you're right. His hair is looking a little rough. Like he doesn't comb his hair before he puts that stuff on, obviously, because he's got some bad hair. And all he needs is the face scan. But he's taking a little bit too much time. He's kind of attracting too much attention to himself. And then I think maybe even the commanding officer might have recognized him just because he had just made that successful delivery. But I do not think he recognizes Mayfield at all.
No, he didn't.
Like Mayfield thought he would.
This whole scene, you have to appreciate Pedro Pascal's acting, because he's acting like a man who doesn't normally have to do anything with their face. The whole scene, he's acting as if he's still wearing a helmet.
He does it very well.
Yeah, that scene with them at that table was absolutely phenomenal. Like it gets so tense when he starts talking about Operation Cinder, which was such a cool name drop to the Aftermath books and to the Battlefront 2 campaign.
And the battle they mention is from a video game.
It's
just
just
the one from the books.
Well, Operation Cinder is that's been in a whole bunch of stuff. The specific campaign he mentions, Burnin' Con, something like that, whatever that name was, that is specifically from one of the video games. I think it was a mobile game that came out in like 2015 that had the Imperials controlling the ANOAT system, and Cloud City was involved and all that kind of stuff. So it was part of that.
Yeah, let's see. Even before the scene, I thought it was kind of funny where he's asking him what his TK number is. Have we ever heard what's your TK number?
The only other time we've heard TK number was TK 421.
Yep. Yeah, that was so cool. Like when he said that,
Was that Rogue One?
Oh my God.
That's A New Hope.
In A New Hope. Okay.
The first movie.
Okay.
Seriously, Disney Plus. It's right there.
I thought
it came out in 1977.
I thought the first movie was called Star Wars. What's A New Hope? Okay. Maybe people.
Only old heads call it Star Wars.
Right.
It doesn't matter. You haven't seen it anyway.
I'm glad you caught on, Wayne. But yeah. I thought that was. Oh no, I didn't even say what I was gonna say. I thought it was hilarious how Mayfield approaches and he's like, oh, he can't hear, and he's like, what's your name? I love that acting. That was really good.
And just Pedro Pascal's face is. He doesn't know how to hide his emotions or hide anything on his face.
Right, you're right.
Because he's used to wearing a helmet where you wouldn't have to do that.
You can his thoughts are written all over his face.
Yeah, he's terrible at this whole sneaking thing when he's not wearing a helmet.
And then tell us about the conversation that they have at the table that Mayfield has with his officer, because it's pretty intense.
Yeah. So Mayfield is, the Imperial officer is like, oh, you guys are you first ones in a while to complete the run. Come over here, let me buy you a drink or something like that. And so they sit at the table with him, and Mando keeps giving the look like, we need to get the hell out of here now. And he's got this look like he should have a flashing neon sign above his head that
His
says,
eyes, yeah, man.
I'm not supposed to be here. But Mayfield is taking the opportunity to confront his former commander, and they start talking about Operation Cinder and tens of thousands of people that died.
I think he said like 500,000.
He said 10,000.
10,000.
Yeah.
Woo! That is so like, think about that, like in like a military perspective. How many lives, how many people is there? There's nothing that, I mean, yeah, they have weapons that can destroy entire planets, but that's like a whole nother scale. And for his attitude to be like, oh yeah, decisions had to be made.
Yeah, he was so proud of himself for coming through it and being a survivor of this massacre.
Yeah. And there were, Operation Cinder targeted Imperial places basically as a punishment for letting the Emperor die.
Yeah, it was like retribution. He was like, "Hey, you can't even keep your Emperor alive. Well, then you get to all burn."
Yeah.
Wow. That's deep. And it gets to the point where I was not expecting it to get to the point that just I guess his officer cheers to the Empire. Does a toast to the Empire, and
you can see Mayfield he's just seething with rage.
Oh God.
And then
it just gets more and more tense and more awkward, and
until he whips out that blaster and shoots him point blank, I mean right in the chest. And you talk about the look on Mando's face.
He's just like, what did you just do?
That was so satisfying, though. That guy, he was so self-righteous, and like he was just the absolute pinnacle of the evil Imperial officer. And it was just watching him get gunned down in cold blood was just wonderful.
It was
the poor shore trooper just standing there like
with his lunch tray.
He had the little milk tray and the square pizza. It was Taco Day.
Is this really fast or what?
That was so funny. I couldn't contain myself. That poor trooper with his lunch tray. And they wipe out the whole. Mayfield. He knows what he's doing. He's an assassin.
But then they fight every stuntman and extra from Rogue One. It was all shore troopers and TKs.
Yep.
So.
I can't believe that. If I hadn't seen Rogue One, I would have thought that was just a shot that they stole directly from Rogue One, because it was like framed just like the scenes on Scarif.
Yeah. It was cool to see the shore troopers again, though.
Yeah, it's always cool to see shore troopers.
Yeah.
They looked great too. They didn't look janky like the stormtroopers do.
Yeah. Apparently, in one of the shots, you can see a stormtrooper running with like black boots on. Once they hit the roof.
I saw one with he was wearing tennis shoes or something.
He was wearing cowboy boots. He was just,
Yeah.
Wow. So now that part explodes from that point. I mean, they get
away, and then Mayfield was like, "Hey, hand me that rifle," and he takes out the whole base.
Yep.
Yeah, like you realize that's with a cycler rifle. So he has to take into account wind and distance, all from a moving ship.
Yeah, they're moving.
They're
just flying out of there.
A bullet.
Is the cycler rifle a slug thrower?
Yes.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Let's look this
You
up.
played Battlefront 2.
I didn't like the cycler rifle. I'm no good with it, so I didn't play with it that much. Wow, it does. Yep, it fires solid projectiles.
Yep.
One of
There you
the
go.
one of the shots was hilarious because I guess they busted out through the window there in like the cafeteria and crawled
Yep.
out. And there was this one shot where this trooper's like crawling underneath there, and one of the guys, either Mayfield or Mando, just like looks under and just pew pew just shoots the guy. It's like rolling on the ground. I thought that was great, and they had the cover from Kara and
Fennec.
sharpshooting. They take out those beautiful gunners. Oh my God. They
Rip.
look so cool. I was like rip. I went back and I kept trying to see. I was like, is there anything different? Is there anything? It's like, no, they're exactly the same. They're just like any other gunner.
So I think that I saw on Facebook today, actually, I think Mon Cal, aka Cal Pierce, I think he made the Rebel Trooper helmets for Rogue One, and he may have made the gunner helmets as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I know he made.
Like, that sounds like something that would happen.
Yeah, so they may actually be fan made, and if they were fan made in Rogue One, they were probably the same fan made in that episode as well.
Yeah, I think they found the storage compartment of all the Rogue One costumes. They're like, oh, score. We needed these last season.
Nice.
Yeah, and
So-
they were only seen like for far away, especially those gunners. So they were probably like, they're a little broken, but just kind of slap them back together with some glue and gaffer's tape. We'll be fine.
Well, I mean, there's nothing to a gunner. All you need is the helmet. Honestly, everything else is mostly soft.
Nothing to it. So easy to build.
Dude,
Don't build a gunner helmet. They are cursed. It carries a curse.
3D printing one. This is a nightmare.
If somebody's like, hey, I want to do a gunner, buy it pre-assembled.
Yeah, you could probably buy a completely assembled gunner helmet for as much as it would cost you in filament for that thing.
No. I've already printed all of it, and I've done it with a roll and a half, and they're $25 a piece. So it's all gonna be epoxy, spray paint, filler,
And $100 of sandpaper.
blood, sweat, and tears. Yes.
I'm still seething with rage over the statement that you made about that. So
What? What
What
statement?
statement?
do it.
What statement was that?
There's nothing to it.
Oh yeah, well yeah, you're right. Because I've been sitting on it for a freaking year now. You're right. There's not. The reason I say that is because you literally have the helmet, and I just borrow it from you. So, but I did not make that helmet, so I really cannot say that. But I would love. I've been trying to just get this daggone helmet done so I can have my.
I told you,
gunner.
give me the parts and I can finish it for you. I'm literally doing nothing else.
I said I have it all printed, but I don't. I have a few pieces that I thought were
You lied
printed.
again.
I've got a problem, man. I just lie and lie and lie. I lie like a
Serenno
rat.
Squad lie cast.
Liecast.
Hold up.
Yeah, with your host Gunner, the biggest liar.
Are
of
you
all.
though? Is that really your name?
Am I your host? Am I lying about all of this?
I mean, whose name would be Gunner anyway?
I
Come
know.
on, it seems a little bit too convenient. Gunner, Imperial Gunner. Come
Yeah,
on, it's like
I know.
Dwight saying his name was Crentis,
Yeah,
or no,
Prentice
his
the dentist.
name was Crentis.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nothing tops when you first joined up and Paul said, hey, we've got a new guy in. And it was me and Paul and John talking. It was Evan. And Paul said, we've got a new guy. And John said, well, what's his name? And Paul said, it's Gunner. And Evan said, oh, so we're using our made-up name.
I remember that. That's okay. I'm glad I could be the source of a good joke.
Some ribbing.
Yeah, right. But no, actually, I get that all the time. Imagine, Chick-fil-A, they're always asking you like, hey, what's your name? They never, I say Gunner, Gunnar, and then I get up to the window like, Butner? I'm like,
You
you
just tell 'em-
literally took gun and put butt instead, and that's my name.
Every
Seriously.
time I go somewhere and they're like, "What's your name?" I tell them the same thing every time because they never get it wrong when you tell them that your name is Galactus, Destroyer of Worlds.
Yeah, I like that. That's a little too much to fit on the ticket, but I do like that.
You could just tell them it's Gun for short. What's your name? Gun.
I used to tell kids my name was Ray, which is my middle name, my dad's name. But
Ray.
but then I would be hanging out with those kids, and then my brother or sister would be like, Gunner, and they'd be like, you said your name was Ray, and I was like,
Yet
yeah,
another lie.
you're a liar. And then they're like, literally everyone would say Gunner is way cooler than Ray, and I was like, I don't think so. But I eventually grew to know that yes, it's actually a pretty cool name. I'm such a cool guy only because of
Except
my name.
you're not pronouncing it right.
And I'm a liar, so
It should be pronounced Gunnar.
actually it should be pronounced Kunar. It's more of a K than a G. It's Kunar. It's
We're just making stuff up now.
nope, this is real. It's actually on a rune stone in Norway. It's one of the oldest Celtic or oldest Viking names that there is, and it hasn't changed that much. Pretty interesting stuff.
Well,
Do
at
the
least they
names
picked.
show on the recording?
What?
I can see our names on the screen. Do they show on the recording?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. You want to talk about hard to pronounce?
Oh yeah, De Paola.
It's literally like you pronounce each individual.
I've never
letter,
tried it.
Right? It's
Yeah,
it's
you weren't
literally
that far off.
yeah. It's literally Di Paola.
Yes.
Did I say it right? De Paola?
Yes.
Wow, you just got to sound it out.
Yes.
But it looks like you want to say DePaula
That's the most common one I hear, yes.
because you want to be cool and smooth. DePaula. Paul DePaula sounds like your parents messed up. But honestly, Scrants, that's a different one too.
Yeah, well, it'd be
Not gonna
nice
lie.
if you pronounced it right.
Scrants?
It's Shrance.
What?
It's not like school.
I tried to sound out Paul's, but sounding out your name was a mistake.
Yeah,
The C is silent.
Scrants.
Shrance. Like schedule.
Shrants. That makes way more sense. All right, now everybody, let's get a shot at my name. Can you pronounce my last name?
Stefan's.
Exactly, dude. Seriously,
Great.
when people see my name, they assume they know your name. My name is Steven, and my last name is Gunner. There's no way my first name is Gunner. And so people will look at it and they'll be like, nope, he rearranged his name wrong. Let me correct it for him. Steven Gunner. I get that
Well,
all the time.
It's Stevens with a PH, so it's Stevens.
Steffens. It's Steffens. Like you get stuffed.
Steven.
Steven.
Steven. His name is Gunner Steven.
Well, yeah, so now this is the surname podcast. Yes.
Yeah, Wayne's over here like
It's
I've been oppressed about everything except my name.
Well, Wayne, the
No.
only thing.
No. What you don't get is where I go somewhere and they're like, what's your name? Wayne. What's your last name? Fuck it. I'm sorry. I get.
Whenever I look, even looking at your last name, it's hard to tell a P from an F. So you got to be careful.
I
But-
cried 2 tears in a bucket. Bucket.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I
What
was just thinking that.
yeah, I'm sure that's what comes to everyone's mind. Anyways, guys,
House Party is a great movie.
back to whatever this podcast was originally about. We were talking about Mandalorian. We had just had a shootout and everything there at the base.
The Mayfeld blew up the thing, which blew up the base, and then you get the shot from his
Oh, yeah.
ship
Oh yeah.
where Mando uses the exact same line word for word
Oh
that he
Yeah.
used against him the first time they spoke.
Yeah,
yes.
he does his Liam Neeson from Taken speech.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Even before that, I've always been a huge Clone Wars, Attack of the Clones fan. It's probably my favorite one, and
So
I
he
love
knows at least
Django.
a quarter of it.
What's that? Yeah, I know.
No.
More like an eighth.
Yeah.
I saw the intro, but I was going somewhere with that before.
Well, it's
I lost
so
my train.
they're
I was gonna
escaping the base, and the TIE
Yes.
fighters are chasing them.
Yes. Okay. You know what I'm going to talk about? What I was going to say is that one of my favorite shots from that movie, or what I remember the most from being in the theaters of Attack of the Clones, is when Jango is being chased and he drops one of those Sentinel charges.
Seismic charges.
Seismic charges, not Sentinel. Seismic charges, sorry. And
Rocket punch.
whenever I saw those TIE fighters pulling up behind Boba, I was like,
Yep.
no way. I even told Hannah, I said, I think he's gonna drop one. And sure enough he does.
Oh,
And I'm like, wait for it, and wong.
oh my God.
As the ship was taking off, I was like, okay, the episode's kind of wrapping up. I was like, it'd be really cool if, like, somewhere between now and the finale, they did a seismic charge,
Yeah.
and then, like 10 seconds later, he presses the button on the control panel, like,
Yes.
That was
So-
so awesome.
But it took me back, though, to being in theaters and not expecting that. And I remember in the theaters thinking, I mean, anybody else that saw it, they know what I'm talking about. It sounds like the sound in the whole theater just cuts out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And something happened. And then you hear it and you realize what just happened to you and what the
And then
movie
you
magic
realize-
that just happened.
And then you realize there's been no music up to this point to help build that.
Well, you just blew my mind again because I'm going to have to
Wow.
go back and see that.
yeah, the
It
music.
was
doesn't
very
start
quiet. You're right. It is very, very quiet. It's
Yeah,
very
there's no
all
music
you hear
until
is
he launches the
beeping.
missile.
Yeah, you just hear like beep, 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 like little beeping and stuff in the cockpit.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's no score behind that chase until the missiles come out.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking
Missiles
about.
come out and go, then the score picks back up.
Movie magic. They know what the heck they're doing, man. And so that was so good.
I think there's at least one scene in every Star Wars movie where there's no music to help build
Probably.
the tension.
That's
Like
a
in-
smart. Yeah.
Like Last Jedi when she suicide bombs the ship.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, whoa. Dude, that's such a
Yeah, because it goes
That was powerful.
completely silent, and then all of you just see all these ships cut in half, and then you hear the.
only in space, baby.
Yep.
It's
It
really
gets
cool.
quiet and then gets really loud. Only in space.
So yeah, that was that was probably. I mean, it really does seem like every episode just gets, in some way, it gets better and better and better.
Like each episode, they're all so good, but each episode has something that makes that episode the best. Like this episode had the seismic charge and Boba Fett's new paint job and Bill Burr being awesome.
Yes, and the costumes, like you said, you got a second Boba Fett costume, and you get that crazy mismatch, like you guys said, the Mud Trooper and the tanker helmet. That's just so freaking cool.
Yep.
And then a lot of people are complaining it's like too much fan service, but I think it's just right. I don't think it's. I feel like there's been way worse things done, like.
Well, I mean, what are they supposed to do? Just make all new stuff, knowing that they have this entire world to pull from?
Exactly. It's that I think that's like the opportunity being seized here with this whole series is that they're familiar things that people not necessarily like were super fans on, but like people wanted to know more on these characters. Like, oh, wouldn't it be cool like to do a story arc on this kind of character? And they
Would
end
you
up
like to know more?
Yes. Yes, exactly. But it is it's been one of my favorite series. I feel like I'm going to be going back and watching season 1, season 2 and stuff all over again. I don't feel like it's like some of these series that you binge that you gotta, it's like, oh, I need a break from that. I feel like it's just another classic. I love it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, I'd love to go back and binge watch just from episode 1. Like once this is over, maybe like over Christmas break or something, I'll just binge watch seasons 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And they-
'cause we got the finales next week, and then Christmas
This week,
Day
right?
is the 1 hour behind the scenes Disney gallery thing.
Is the
I just
finale
wanted to
this
link
week
to
or
it.
next week?
Finale is this
Next
week.
No, the finale's this week. The one that you were talking about,
Yeah.
that other show, is next week, and then we've got to wait till Christmas Day of next year before we get
Yeah.
any more.
I don't know if it's necessarily Christmas Day, but Christmas time next year.
So at the end of the episode there, though, they land, and Mayfield is, I think, more than anything, Kara and Fennec were impressed with both the decision that he made, which was in the last minute as they're flying out of there, like, I'm going to blow this place up. And then on top of that, the skill it took to do it with that cycling rifle, they were like, dude, you're free to go. Like, you helped us out. You went above and beyond by blowing up that place. You didn't have to blow it up. You could have let them, do whatever. And then on top of that, like, that was just impressive. And so I don't originally think that they were going to let him walk. I think they were going to put him back.
Probably not.
They're probably going to put him back. But I feel like after those two things, they don't know, Fennec and Kara don't know about the inside story of him as a soldier and how he witnessed all of his, brothers in arms or whatever you want to call them, dying and stuff, and how he had to live with that. It humanized him a lot in this episode, especially there in that cafeteria talking to his commander. And so you kind of feel for him now as a character. And Kara and them, they don't know any of that, but we know that. And then the fact that they, I guess, respect him because of what he did in the end, they let him walk free. I thought that was really cool. And I hope that we get, and maybe season 3, bring him back for another episode.
I love it.
I love him. And I think it's so cool, the relationship that Jon Favreau has with some of these actors, and how you wouldn't really, like Bill Burr, he admits that he never would have ever went out of his way to do anything like this, ever. And it wasn't for John just being like, dude, I think this would be good. And basically convincing him to do it. And now he's renounced his hate for Star Wars, and I think he's actually a pretty big fan. How can you not be? Being such an awesome character. And yeah, so that this last episode was probably one of my favorites. I watched it like as soon as the credits ran, before the credits even ended. Hannah was like, "You want to watch it again?" I was like, "Yes!" And we watched it again, and so good. But anyways, that was this week's top story. Paul, I think you had an article that you had sent about Empire Strikes Back, maybe?
Yeah, it was as we record this yesterday, Good Morning America had put out it's like a 6-minute behind the scenes clip, and then they put out another clip today. So there's about 12 to 15 minutes of a lot of new footage, new behind the scenes footage for Empire Strikes Back, alternate takes, and some deleted stuff. And it's just kind of celebrating the 40th anniversary. Today, StarWars.com put a thing up in their Star Wars show, Copycats,
Yeah, they copied
where they
us.
have a lot of the, we'll call them the next generation of Star Wars filmmakers, talking about the impact of Empire and kind of their favorite scenes and such.
Yeah, one thing I really was impressed by was the quality of the shots behind the scenes. It was like even when the first 6-minute video started off and it had an actual shot of Luke, like a theatrical shot of him in the snow speeder with the background and stuff, the green screen, and then it cuts from him sitting there with the old guy with the clacker or whatever, and the quality, it looks like it was filmed yesterday. I mean, it was. What a lot of people don't realize is that almost since at least since the 70s, since we've been making good films, since like Spielberg and those guys who really renaissance the like filmmaking and stuff, we've been using like Kubrick, guys like that. They've been using the highest quality cameras at the time, and those negatives or the original, actual film is just as good as the human eye, if not better than what the human eye can see. The problem is that in the 70s, how do you put that onto a screen? You lose all that quality. And so people think that movies back then were crappy because you saw it on a VHS and that's all you got. But now people are starting to realize that all that original film, when it was filmed, the quality is better than your own vision. And they can basically, with the technology we have today, view or project that so that we can see it in higher quality. So even the same recording from, I guess it was 1980 or 79. When did they do the filming for Empire?
It was like 79.
79 or whatever. In 20 years, we're going to have even clearer images of that, which is kind of hard to believe because, it's been getting better every single year. But go back 5 years ago, the quality is nowhere as where it is today. It's just going to get exponentially better. So this little documentary, seeing shots like that, is so cool because there is an archive of that footage. And what we've seen is crap that's, it's basically crappy footage that's put on the end of like some special features on a VHS. Someone's recorded that, uploaded it onto YouTube, and that's what we got as bonus tracks and bonus features and stuff. So the DVDs, they do a pretty good job, but even the quality of some of that stuff looks like crap. But I love.
It just depends on how much it's been processed and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and like I said, if you've got those originals, that original film, I mean, you can do anything, and that's what it looks like. Good Morning America got a hold of. I don't know who had that footage, but like every single shot was, from the actual camera. It wasn't like one of those crappy little cameras that was just bouncing around in the background trying to get some.
No, it was professionally recorded.
Yeah. Well, it was the same. It was basically the same camera that was recording the shots. It's just they didn't use those shots like that. They showed a scene of Luke, of Leia and Han, and they were getting really hot and heavy, like more than what you remember in the movie.
Yeah, it's an alternate take of their kiss.
Yeah.
The dialogue is slightly different.
Yeah. It's hot. But anyways, that was a really cool article there, Paul. I didn't know that they released another video, so I'm going to have to go and look and see what they got.
Yeah.
You said released today, but really it was yesterday because this is released on Thursday. So
I said today as we record.
Yes, you did say that, so.
This is not live.
I still don't understand.
When will now be then?
Yeah.
I still don't understand. Yeah. Anyways, that's about it for this week, guys. Anything that y'all can recommend? Anything that y'all have watched recently?
Bit of sad news I found out today that the Star Wars show is ending.
The Star Wars show, as in the YouTube channel.
Yeah, the show that they've done for like 5 years. Sometimes it was weekly, sometimes it's been monthly. Yeah, they're putting it on hiatus,
Okay.
as they call it.
It was very informative. I got a lot of my news from them. Although I
Very
would say,
informative and very fun.
yeah, I would say that I kind of wanted more from it. But
Paul and I were on it once.
Yeah, we got on the live stream from the celebration.
wow, that's awesome. We need
We're
to
in
get
the
some footage
background.
of that.
Oh yeah, but you can see us because we're wearing Reverso Troopers.
Yeah.
What's Reverso Troopers?
He was wearing the black tie flight suit with the white Rebel pilot vest. The chest. You were wearing the Rebel chest box, weren't you?
Yeah, I was wearing the X-Wing pilot outfit, except I had a black flight suit. I had the Imperial flight suit.
And I was
Yeah,
wearing a
I-
tie. And I was wearing a tie pilot helmet and all, except I had the orange flight suit.
Yeah.
What were you wearing, Evan?
I have never been to
Probably a
Celebration.
robe.
Oh yeah, Celebration is not the premiere. Sorry.
No.
Not as cool.
Celebration's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
In fact, that was where I got to meet, very, very briefly, the host of the Star Wars show, Andy Gutierrez.
Okay, yeah.
After the con had ended, and everybody was hanging out in the hotel bar, I saw her real quick, and I said hi.
Did you tell her I love her?
No.
I think you better
Damn,
tell her
man, you were
yourself.
my inside guy.
Yeah.
How
She's
long has it
literally-
been? How long
She's
has it been,
literally
Wayne?
married.
Yeah, how long has it been though since Celebration? Come on.
Like a year.
Oh.
It was last April.
Oh, well, it wasn't that long ago. Yeah, you're right. She could be single. Who knows?
Well, year and a half ago, I guess.
Well, anyways, that sounds
2019, when we could still go outside.
that is kind of depressing
No,
though
it's
that the Star Wars
2019.
show
Yeah.
is but they still have an archive of all sorts of stuff you can check out, which is pretty
Yes.
interesting. So yeah, that
For recommendations, The Expanse is back this week. I need to watch the new episodes. It's on Amazon Prime.
Nice.
It's a really good sci-fi show.
Yeah. I might just wait until the whole season's dropped.
Mhm.
I've read all the books, so I'm better than you.
In so many ways, Evan. In so many ways.
Yeah. Did I tell you the premiere was 1 year ago today?
Yeah, I think.
read-
I think.
Paul, he read the books at the premiere.
Yeah, I was sitting there like, get out of the way, Mark. Excuse me.
Yeah, Anthony Daniels read the books to him.
While cradling him like a small child.
Oh man. Let's see. I had one. There's a new channel that I found on YouTube called Create Sci-Fi. And this guy makes
Okay.
some awesome, really, really cool props. He's made a few Star Wars blasters from 3D prints and stuff, including the Mandalorian's rifle, the blaster, Mandalorian vibra blades, and stuff like that, tracking fobs. And a lot of these, almost all of them, he's got files.
Do
and,
they look right or do they look close?
oh no, they look great. Let's see. This guy's nuts, but he's great. This is like he's got
I can
some
point to me.
good stuff. But yeah,
Does
most
he
of the stuff.
sing the whole thing?
Does he what?
Was he singing the whole thing?
No, he was just talking. He was running his mouth. That's all. But he did this one helmet mod where he had a really cheap helmet and kind of made it a little bit worth more. But
He was
anyways,
a Mandalorian.
well, it was actually a helmet that he bought like a year or two ago before the show came out, I think, and it was a Jango Fett helmet from like Rubies or something. And he did a whole bunch of stuff to it, but it's just he's got some good techniques and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting. Oh, and I just started watching this show on Netflix called The Repair Shop. It's like they're
I've heard
English,
about that.
they're like British, English, whatever you want to call them, over the pond, across the pond. They it's a lot like British baking show, but instead they have people come in with a bunch of old antiques and stuff, and they repair it, rebuild it, do all sorts of stuff like that. It's really, really cool show. They show you how they do traditional techniques of repairing things, which is really interesting. So it took me a while to get over the British hump, but then after watching every season of the Peaky Blinders, I'm okay. I can do it now. So that's another one. Watch Peaky Blinders if you haven't watched that, if you got the stomach for it. What about you, Evan? Anything you want to recommend?
I have mostly just been researching mead making this week, so.
Cool, mead making. You know, we got a meadery right here beside the house.
Yeah, when it was right before lockdown, I remember we went into.
We went together. Oh my god!
I think you got some honey there, and I did a little tasting.
That's crazy. I totally forgot about that little experience.
It was like a week before lockdown.
Wow, man.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have a meadery out of here. So.
Nice, cool. Sign
It's gonna be a still.
Yeah, it's gonna have a still upstairs.
It's gonna be a still, but it's Salem, so you gotta call it.
Please don't burn your house down. How about you, Wayne? Did you already recommend something?
No, I can't recommend anything. I'm too busy building armor, painting.
Got to start recording that stuff. You can share it with everybody. All you
need
wisdom.
to do is come by with the camera.
That's true.
I can't sand and paint and do all the stuff and hold a camera.
No, you can't. That's true. I'm gonna help you out.
I don't have any tripods, so.
If you want, the next time it's going to be warm, I'll let you know when I'm going to be over there. If it's on the weekend, if you want to come over, I'll wait and do the arms.
Yeah, we need to get something done. But I know you're working all on Paul's, right?
No, Paul's working on Paul's.
Okay, you're working on yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
All right.
I'd say I'm about
He's about
70% done on Rex.
Nice. Yeah. Excellent. You still got a ways to go, but
yes,
sounds really good. All right, guys. Well, if that's it, I think it's about that time. Thank you guys for joining us, and if you want to check us out on Instagram, Garrison Tyrannus, the Serenno Squadcast. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. If you're interested in joining the 501st, check out the 501st Legion online.
Or just message us from any one of our names.
Yes, there you go. Just stalk us. But if you are
you can go one of these links.
Yes, if you're in the Virginia area, you would be Garrison Tyrannus. So check us out, and until next time, everybody. Bye bye.